alsjeblieft. Het dak eraf. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack O'Neill, MacGyver, Mr. Richard Dean Anderson!
Does this one work? Do these work?
Yes, sir.
Who was here yesterday? Get out. I got nothing new to say. How's everybody feeling? Everybody need a nap like I do? As I do? Yeah. I'm a big fan of naps. I've become a fan in my later years. Or these last late years of my life. Usually what I like to do is just start taking questions so we can chat a little bit, rather than me starting to talk on my own, because I'll rattle on forever. As you'll find in some of my answers, or my introduction to what we should do.
Hi.
Yeah, don't be afraid to tell me to just move on, is what I'm getting at. Hello.
Hi, this is a pleasure to meet you. I have two questions actually. The first one, will you come in France this year or the next year? And the second one, do you know about the children of MacGyver building a full-size Stargate? Thank you.
The second part of that I didn't understand at all. It was very thick with dialogue.
Do you know as the non-profit organization as children of MacGyver who built a Stargate full-size? And do you support it?
Still having a little trouble.
There is apparently a society called the Children of MacGyver, and they built a full-size prop of Stargate. Do you know about it, and how do you feel about it?
First of all, I don't know about it, and I feel wonderful.
Good.
I've never heard of this. The Children of MacGyver? I know that we helped develop the children's friends. What was it? What's the name of the thing downtown that we started? Challenges. Nap. Yeah, the Challengers Club was something that was an existing kids club that got kids kept buying plots or blocks of land and neighborhood down in the bad part of Los Angeles, or one of the many bad parts of Los Angeles, and it got developed into the Challengers Club, which gives the kids to a certain age a protected place to play and to learn, and the parents all kind of supported had to volunteer. Anyway, it was that's as close as we've come to, and we portrayed it on MacGyver at one point, but I'd never heard of MacGyver's children. How many did he have? I've got one myself, and I feel great about it. I'm holding true to that. I don't think I answered your question.
Hi, thanks for coming. I have a question. In the micro? Okay, it's good. Sorry if I'm not in English, but do you believe in the life on the other planets? You personally?
Yeah, I kind of do. And you've got a wonderful accent. It's very thick and indistinguishable. No, I seriously, I mean, I love science and physics and all those things that I know nothing about. I mean, it's part of my curiosity of life in general, but science just snaps my head around because of you know, what's happening and what we don't even know is happening in those worlds. As far as, you know, there being intelligent life somewhere else, I kind of think so. I have no proof, otherwise I'd be a more popular guy, but yeah, what about you? Any leanings either way? You do?
Yeah, of course.
You're one of them? It's your dialect again, I'm sorry. No, I do. I kind of believe in that. I bet you most, just show of hands, how many do believe in some other form of life somewhere else? Yeah, most idiots. So we're not alone. I'll write something down. I'll call Chris Carter. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes of MacGyver is where he escapes East Berlin over the bridge in the casket.
Oh, yeah.
And
East Germany.
Yeah, East Germany, yeah. And I remember it because in the Bridge of Spies, it's the same bridge that they portray. And my question is, was it fun to shoot it? Did you go there? And was it stuntable, or did you do it yourself?
Did we go to Germany to shoot that in our first year of shooting? No. It would have cost as much as we use in the entire season to make one shot over in Germany. No, that was one of the, I was trying to explain yesterday what we used to do is we create kind of kind of like a pre-episode. It was sort of like an introduction to the start of the show. What was the word? Gambit? Is that what it was? Oh, thank you. That sounds familiar. It's all coming back to me now. Yeah, but the whole thing would take about 6 minutes total, but maybe not even that long. But it meant that we had to do a full production of an escape, you know, establish what the problem is, see some solutions, see him putting together solutions and getting away. And that's what we did in the show. So we were basically doing 2 shows, one of which got gypped on the amount of time. So which one were you referencing? Which? Yeah, the coffee, sorry. Because I'm hung up on the one where I fly away on the horse, which I told about yesterday. Yeah, that definitely was not done in Germany, but, and I do know how to ride one of those things, but at the time you know, because something had to explode, and it was in the early days of production of the show, so they weren't letting me do that kind of stuff. That, I don't think the way the stunt guy ended up doing it, I don't think I could have done it, because he just snapped up and gone. But, of course, he had all the fun. I put a stop to that real quick.
Well, with all the awards you got over your life, which was the most important for you?
Awards? Have I won anything?
Did I win anything?
I don't pay attention to that. Did I get an Academy Award recently? No? I don't really, I don't know. I got something in, I think, Paris a few years ago. Do you remember? What? Jules Verne. The Jules Verne Award for something. And that was fun. They flew me over and we had a big shindig in Paris. And,
Air Force.
what was it for?
Air Force.
Oh, right. And they gave me the Air Force. What? No, yeah, you're right. I was, on Stargate, we used the United States Air Force as consultants, and they were very helpful in well, getting us through some sticky problems, logistically, props, like multi-million-dollar jets in the background, tarmacs to be chased by aliens, whatever. I'm sorry. But, so we had a really nice relationship with the Air Force. And over the years, we started showing some of our appreciation by casting real-life generals, I think it was all generals, with little small, walk-on roles in our production, which is rather silly if you think of it, but they were all for it. General George Jumper was just really game for it. He was just stiff as a board, but really fun to act with. And I remember after one scene that he and I kind of were in, among others, and after the cut, I went over to him and we had a couple of moments chatting. And I asked him the direct question about the nature of my character, Jack O'Neill. I said, do you have officers in the Air Force that behave like and before I could finish the sentence, he said, yes, and worse. He said, you're doing a great job, keep it up. So apparently I wasn't far off from, my pitch toward credibility of Air Force colonels. But then I became a general and I had to be boring. Fat.
What is your favorite part of...
I'm sorry. They presented me with an honorary star, general star, which was very cool. I get to fly to Washington. Oh, stop it. Yeah, that was an honor. That one got my attention. Sorry, go ahead.
What is your favorite part of Stargate?
The favorite part of the Stargate? The position of it, like the corner right. I know what you mean, but I don't think I have a clever answer for it or a straight answer. Ultimately, what it came down to, and it's going to sound kind of gushy, but the camaraderie that we ended up having, the four of us, the four main guys that I really kind of cherished and loved the most. It was, it's rare when you work in Hollywood, I hate that. When you work in the business, I hate that even more. I don't know how to phrase it, so I'll just say Hollywood. It's rare to find a group of people that all of whom get along great and genuinely like each other and are supportive on screen. And I have to say, quite honestly, that I could never have done what I did as Jack O'Neill if it hadn't been for three other actors who were willing to put up with my crud. Kids here? Any kids? Oh, so I can't say naughty words. I'm just trying to clean up my act a little bit. Anyway, I think that's the most memorable part of that whole experience. But the other parts were the food. The food was nice. They were good caterers. And the vacation. Okay. What was your favorite? Who asked that question? What was your favorite? Oh, everything. Okay, so you're cheating. That's not fair. Sir.
Hi, I have a question about MacGyver. If you hadn't played the role of MacGyver, who would you have liked to have played in the show? So on MacGyver, Yeah. If you didn't have the lead, who would you have played?
Oh boy, that takes some thought. I think Jack Dalton. I think Bruce McGill and I became fast friends when he came on and started playing his character. But I think I would have done what he did. Dalton was, I mean, Bruce is probably the only guy that could have done everything that he did, but I think the nature, the freedom with which he bounced off walls, he had a lot of fun doing that and said so. So maybe that one. Not Murdoch, if that's what you're getting. Did you have one? Favorite?
All of them?
That's all I'm going to say from now on. Oh, it was all great.
What was it like to have people that starred on MacGyver with you come back in Stargate SG-1, like Christopher Judge, who was a kid with a very bad haircut on one of the shows, and then Jack Hammond of Texas, who became your boss? What's that like, to have all those people come back 10, 15 years later?
Well, Chris hates this about our relationship. I have no recollection of him being on MacGyver at all. And I've told him that. And it just drives him nuts. Because apparently we fought or had a fight or something. Oh, you're all nodding. But I swear to God, it's true. I don't remember him at all. So I said, you know, now I say, Chris, if you'd been a little bit more memorable, maybe I would have remembered. Yeah. But was there more to that question, or just that? Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It's like nice. If I have any talent for anything as a producer, it's that, and as an actor, is that I like to surround myself with good people who are good. It helps if they're good at their job as well, because the job has to get done. But I demanded a sense of humor in the people that came to work with and for me. Part of my mantra is that if it's not fun to do, it's not worth doing, basically. Drudgery is not my cup of tea. So I always made sure that there was levity and honesty, but also good hard work, which we all did put in. So that's that. Or it's part of that.
Richard, as you know, Stargate has no border. There will be a Stargate exhibition next month in Belgium, in the Belgian Museum, in their Egyptian section. Have you heard about that? And are you personally interested by the mythology?
By the what?
Mythology. Egyptian gods. Mythology.
Or mythology. Learn how to talk, will you? Come on. No. No, seriously, I haven't heard anything about that. It sounds interesting, I think, does it? Anybody else know about it? To know if it's interesting or not? One. Seriously, I wish I could answer most questions posed to me, but that one I haven't a clue. Like most questions. Do you have any answers for that? Never mind. We'll talk after the show. Any more questions?
Oh, hi.
Sparkly.
After so many years and after so many other roles you've played, people still refer to you as mostly MacGyver. Does that bother you at all, or are you proud of it?
not proud of it at all. It embarrasses me terribly.
You shouldn't
Can't get
be.
to sleep at night. No, of course I am. Very proud of it. Both shows that I've been associated with, I've had pride in. And took pride in showing up at work every day. Although you wouldn't know it by me being a cranky ass in the morning. But, yeah, I mean, as I heard myself uttering these words the other day in one of the interviews, I said, as legacies go, MacGyver's not so bad, you know? I mean, I could do worse. Escapes me right now, but yeah, I like having been that character, and as I understand, they're making another version of it, a prequel, I think, which is the only way they could go. They have not approached me to be a part of it, which is fine. I'm not offended at all. But if they had, and they were willing to put up with my having gained about 30 pounds in the offing, and growing this. What is this thing? Anybody else have this? This thing right here? Come on, fess up.
No.
There's one. There's more. There we go. All right. What is that? What? It's age.
Yeah.
Age, gravity, past life, waddle, right? It's a waddle. I feel like a turkey sometimes. It's just ludicrous. Anybody coming through the line for an autograph will notice this. That's me signing with my head down and just rolls of whatever that is. So I apologize for that. There's nothing I could do. Well, there is something I could do. Snip, snip. Never. What? I look fine?
Yeah, you
Despite
do.
my wobble
Yeah.
and my handles. I got those too. Let's just talk about me, shall we? I've actually lost about 26 pounds in the last year or so. I'll stop it. I just embarrassed myself by saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so vain. Oh shucks, let's have another question.
Thank you.
Having done documentaries with
A little further away from here.
with National Geographic and other environmental stuff, do you have any advice for a filmmaker who's doing his first documentary, and any advice on bike rides?
Advice on bike riding.
That's quite an expansive question you got going there. Well, I used to ride a lot, and I took a bicycle ride. I'm sure it's printed somewhere. I took a bicycle ride from Minneapolis, Minnesota, to southern Alaska, looped down to Vancouver Island, to Vancouver, and across the Trans-Canada Highway and back to Minneapolis. It's about a 5,641 mile. It's approximate. But I did it at a time where I could do it, but young and stupid. Now I'm old and finish that sentence. Oh, wise? You guys are just blind. You're so. But I hold that experience, my personal experience, as being the thing that, or the moment in life that altered the course of the rest of my history, future history. Because when I left, I was kind of a wannabe juvenile delinquent. And spending 3 months on the road on a bicycle, 2/3 of it by myself out in the wilderness and up through the Alcan Highway and the Canadian Rockies, making that loop, it changed me 180 degrees. It was like by the end of that trip, I was talking to cows, having full-on conversations with them. I mean, seriously, it was just, it altered my consciousness entirely. So I'm glad I did that, but I'm also, I don't think it would have been the same if it had been documented in any way. I took some notes. First 2 days, my entries were about this big. You got like this about the third day, fourth day, and then blank. It just became like, because I realized that, you know, it's more important, it was at that time, and it is kind of now, although I'm more apt to want to film something that's going on. But my philosophy was experience the moment rather than chronicle it. It's like, you know, it's, rather than having a whole life that you see through this little square box, you know, expand the box, get rid of the impediment, the camera, the phone, whatever they are these days, and just, you know, take it in and use your head as the recording device. So, it sounds corny, but I am. So.
Unfortunately, we only have time for one more question.
No. It's better be good, lady. No pressure.
Yeah. Back to the awards. You received the Celebrity Award from the Make-A-Wish Foundation in 1995 because of your commitment to the foundation. I'm wondering, how many children did you grant their wishes? Approximately?
I have no idea. I honestly, I couldn't even include about 30 or 40 maybe. The most impressive one for me was a little guy that was, actually he was 38, but and I can't remember the name of the affliction that, where you look like an old man, but and you don't grow, but, what is it? Yeah, say it again, Lon. Like they said. Anyway, this kid was like a huge MacGyver fan, like out of his mind sort of MacGyver fan. And I was in Pittsburgh doing a celebrity hockey charity thing, and his parents got a hold of me through various ways, and I agreed to meet him at the stadium in Pittsburgh. We went out and meet him, and he was just the coolest kid I've ever met in my life. He was just positive and funny and witty and just right there for you. And we stayed in touch after I left. We kind of wrote to each other and stayed in touch with his parents for a while. And then I got word that he had passed. And when the mother sent me a snapshot of him in his coffin, an open coffin, and he was wearing from head to toe MacGyver hat, MacGyver jacket. He had other MacGyver stuff, all over him. And at first I thought it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Which, I mean, think about it, it is kind of odd. But the letter that was attached from the mother just broke my heart. I totally understood where he was coming from because he was happy. And basically the image was that he was being embraced by MacGyver. And that had a lasting effect on me. I mean, I still remember the details of that story and that part of my life. So, I forgot what the question was, but that was the story attached to it. So.
Dank u wel. Nou, nog niet doorkomen dat onze volgende en laatste gast staat al klaar, maar alsjeblieft nog een afscheidsapplaus voor Richard Dean Anderson!
I just want to say one thing before those accolades get thrown my way. I've had a lot of fun here, despite my only seeing the inside of my hotel and this place. usually I don't judge things so much as I observe and take in what I've observed and taken in from everybody I've met in Belgium has been just phenomenal. Phenomenally kind and polite, except for one guy. We sent him bail to get him out of jail, but I'm kidding. Everyone, I think the general personality of Belgians is really pure and good, and I embrace you all and for everything that you've been through these last weeks and months. You're a stronger people than I've met in my life, I think, and thank you for bringing me into this. I'll always come back if invited. Maybe not. Maybe not invited.